Hello, welcome to the show. This is Dale Matthews, and this is Mike Jones, and welcome to the show.
I feel like I've been here before.
Google is still giving us some problems, but it's a free service. We're happy to be here. Hello, and welcome to our show. And I like Sundays because we're talking about lots of people say, well, if you were elected commissioner or your audience members were elected, Mike was elected, just what exactly would you do? Well, we're talking about exactly what we do, one step at a time, laying it all out and putting ourselves on the line. And you're out there with us. If anybody has any questions, I'm going to blame you guys in the audience. So that sounds good to you, doesn't it, Mike?
Oh, sure.
We'll blame the audience. So we have a little clip. No, we don't have a clip. Don't play that clip, Mike. Instead of playing the clip, we're going to just talk about the clip because apparently it's restricted in other countries or something. Look, Mike and I both and a number of people have gotten this pretty hilarious piece of videotape that says, well, this is kind of a secret video that was made. And also it was on Saturday Night Live, which is not really that secret. And it's a discussion among Iranian power brokers about the deal that they've signed with the Secretary of State and with President Obama.
Yeah, but it's a talk show format thing where it's happening in front of a live audience and all of this stuff.
So how secret can it be?
Yeah, it's not secret. It's one of these things. I mean, we've talked about this before where there's a piece of video that's available for people to take and edit in their own subtitles. And I forget the movie that comes from.
Something about the life of Hitler or whatever. And he's down in the bunker and he's talking to his generals about what they're going to do. And some funny people put text in there. Well, Shara Walker will do this and Keith Eck will do that or whatever it said. Yes. And it was pretty funny.
It's been done. Yes, hundreds of times with different topics.
This is one where it purports to be Iranians talking to each other about this deal that they've signed about the nuclear proliferation. Okay, and so it's pretty funny all by itself. It's also funny even if you don't understand the language they're speaking. And the guy that's playing the guest on the show in front of a live audience is really got an infectious laugh, like Sandy Casanelli. Anytime you hear him laugh, you just have to laugh along. Well, that's funny enough, good enough. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Then we start getting these emails. You got to see this. Why, this is top secret. No, it's not. And then, oh, well, you got to look at this because before they take it down, here's the truth behind. This is not the truth behind anything. It's a comedy, okay? And, well, listen to what they're saying. Well, when you listen to what they're saying, does no one speak Spanish anymore? I mean, didn't you have to study some of that in school? These guys are speaking Spanish. Now, unless everybody in Iran now speaks Spanish, what the heck are you talking about? They're not speaking Farsi. That's the language of Iran.
Those Mexicans are everywhere.
But now the funny part is people are buying into this. They're buying into the idea that, well, look, they're laughing at us in Iran. No, they're not. These guys are Mexicans. Or Venezuelans or whatever they are. Try saying that.
They're laughing at us in Iran, but they're just not televising it. That's all.
So a quarter of what we do, I tell people this all the time, is putting an end to goofy rumors. I mean, very serious rumors. This is not true. These are not Iranians. We're laughing. And Mike's probably right. They probably are laughing. But this is not videotape of that. So you can relax.
Yes.
That's over. Okay. So Sunday's my favorite day because we talk about what would we do at a step-by-step basis with dealing with, if everybody here was elected, how would you handle this? How would you?
No. Let's hang on a second. This is not what happens if everybody was elected. And listen, Dale has a very well laid out plan here.
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of it, but this is not everybody's plan for being elected. We haven't even gotten any feedback from people. Please write in your feedback at onboard@budget.net. So far, this is Dale's idea of what ought to be done.
Feedback on the street from streetwalkers, not pointing at her, from streetwalkers and from the dogs that are passing by and people who are vagrants. They're telling me this is a brilliant plan, Dale. I watch your show all the time.
Oh, that's great. All the criminal element are telling me this is wonderful.
No, there's nobody from Rotary involved in this, Mike. Now stop it. Okay. This is a list. Obviously, I put this list together, and I'm bouncing it off of Mike, and he's okay, and other people are chiming in on this, and this is based on 1,000 pieces of input that we've had. What would you do on a step-by-step basis? And I'll tell you where we were last time.
Well, okay. I think we should get street interviews with these vagrants you're talking about, and get their angle on this. You read off the list in the first 100 days. Here's what we want to do, and we'll see what they have to say about it. That might be pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, anyone could say anything they wanted to, because with the kind of camera work we've had recently, all their heads are going to be cut off anyway, so you won't be able to see who it is.
Well,
it'll be anonymous.
I will tell you that that's just slightly less interesting than what you're getting here from me, because Dale is bouncing this off of me and getting my feedback. So the benefit is that we don't have to go out on the street to get this information.
We made this deal a long time ago, and you guys were here when we did this. I said, Mike, the way that we could work it is I'll look at social media and that kind of stuff and respond to you, and you go to the meetings of the county commissioners. Oh, no.
Yes. And yes. And I got the worst end of the deal. Darn. I wish I was going to every one of those meetings.
I do understand coming here. I'm not a fool. I just play one on TV. I do understand that it sounds like it's the Dale show, but I'm the one that goes to the meetings, and then I collect the information and I lay it out. And then Mike is every person, and he's the one that says, I don't like that for the following reasons. Okay, cool. And that's what we do. Because not everybody wants to go. Hey, you all want to go to these meetings? You don't? Okay, then I'll tell you what's happening, and then you can tell me, well, I like that. Ooh, I really like that when Simon does that, or I don't.
Well, I tell you what I really do like. Dale, I gave Dale this flash drive, and when I got it back, it was empty. As you can see, there's nothing it looks like there's something in there, but there's nothing inside of there. So Dale got me this new flash drive today, and take a look at this thing. It's pretty cool. It's like a switchblade. You push this button. Hang on. Right. It has performance anxiety. Oh, for crying out loud!
Oh yeah, just
there. Oh, I'm sorry. There it is. It goes like that, and then when you push the button, it goes away like that. That's pretty slick. It's like a switchblade in reverse.
Hey, yes. Geeks on parade! Yay! All right. So where were we last time? Where we were last time? We're gonna bring you up to speed. We're talking about what would happen on the very first Monday, because you have to meet on a Monday and you have to choose the chair and the vice chair, and then what would happen the following Wednesday. And what we've already gone over is maybe a slightly new way and a couple of ways of running some of these meetings. Start with an invocation. I think that you might agree, some of you would. We can use all the help that we can get. And then a flag salute, okay, at the beginning of every Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's only meeting 3 times a week, just like the commissioners do now. No, it's not wasting a whole bunch of time. It's meeting only 3 times a week, and we think we've got a way to cut down on the length of these meetings.
Yes, and you know what? I have a suggestion for that. As soon as the chair is elected, we award him a whip and a sidearm.
I need a chair also, a chair. A chair and a
chair.
whip.
Chair.
Yes,
That's
right.
right.
And the sidearms on the side. That's right. That's
Yes.
what I think. Yeah. And then deal with the Lions Club. Okay.
Right.
So
Okay.
one of the things that you want to be sure is I know that when Sandy Casanelli came in, people, her meetings were chaos. That's Tony Webb. Thanks a lot, Tony. And then they were out of control. And that, no, I'll tell you what happened on these meetings. And they weren't chaos because I actually went to the meetings. Hello, Dennis Weber. I actually went to the meetings, and no, people were not screaming. What was happening is the department heads were coming in, and then once the people finished, the commissioners got their protected time, and the department heads were using the same kind of thing. And they'd get up, as an example, the airport director at the time. He was saying one thing at the airport meetings and something else at the weekly business session. And the airport meeting guys, especially from Cave Junction, they weren't coming to the weekly business sessions because I was going to both. I go to all these meetings for you and videotape them. And I said, no, wait a minute. That's not what he said at this. Well, he was very upset. You're telling people. Well, it's true. That's what was happening. He was giving two different stories depending on his audience. Does that sound familiar? And so what would happen is somebody would get up and they'd say something, and then he or another department head would, well, the reason why that's all false is because of this and this and this. And sometimes what they were saying is not true at all. But then we got to sit there. And then they could just say anything they wanted. Well, that's all a lie for the following reasons. And then that's it. You can't say anything. So what Sandy Casanelli did as a commissioner, because this was happening constantly, she said, okay, we're going to establish a thing at the end of the meeting where the real bosses, the people, get a chance to have a 30-second rebuttal. You could just see the department heads go like this. Because now that you can't get up and have the final say, we have the final say on the show now, this is new. But once they had that, the department heads stopped coming to the meetings. They stopped coming altogether.
Yeah.
Because people would get up and they'd say, no.
Because it was chaos.
Yes, well.
Yes.
It was, but it wasn't taking any longer. Oh, the meetings were lasting. No, they weren't.
Yeah, no, this is what you do when, you've lost control of what you formerly had iron-fisted control over. Oh, no, it's chaos. Oh, okay, well, there you go.
You asked Tony Webb, what was chaotic about it? I've asked her. Well, yeah, what? Because I was there. You weren't. What was the chaos? What was the chaos? It was very much like when they called her Casanoli. You go back and you look at the statistics, the real things, even without Bill Hunker telling you, and she voted yes 90% of the time. 90% makes her Casanoli. Okay, yeah. You may or may not like her politics. But that's not the point. Don't lie.
Yeah. No, you know what? This is one of my pet peeves is people who comment on social media all the time about how horrible it is at the meetings. They never go. These meetings are tranquil for the most part. Now every once in a while, Keith Heck will get mad at somebody like Judy or Dale or whatever and tell him to sit down because he doesn't like what they're saying.
Or call him a name. Is that nice?
But it never goes beyond even whatever is happening in that situation never goes beyond the 3-minute period.
After do you like the fact that he's calling anybody a slimy maggot or you're asinine or you're an ass? I mean, is this the kind of counter government you have? Do you like that?
Right. Yeah, well, and see, this is the point is that the disruption in that particular case is coming from Keith Heck. It's not coming from people in the audience. And they'll say, well, he was just responding to whatever. You weren't there. You weren't there. We got this guy, Danny Shirley comes into Josephine County politics all the time, says that, the meetings are chaos. And I would have told her to sit down or whatever, too. You weren't even there on TV. And yet you're going to make judgments about what goes on in there. Pat Bath, the Democratic Party head gal, comes in there and in defense of Cheryl Walker. She's probably never been to one of these meetings before or not for a whole long time. And I haven't seen her there since then. And, she's going to come in and tell us what's going on with the meetings. That's because they're getting third-party information. The commissioners are telling them this stuff, and it's a complete lie. It's their characterization about what went on there. Anybody who is not sitting in their chair with their, fingers interlaced and saying, teacher, may I, is out of control.
This is what Dennis Weber said, that people were yelling out expletives at the meetings. No, they're not. The closest thing that we have to that is Keith Eck. I got up, speaking of yelling out expletives, I got up because there's a nice guy at the airport, a bit long-winded sometimes, he knows who he is, and they were jumping all over this guy. And Larry Graves, we name names, buddy. Larry Graves was calling, and it's twice now, said, yeah, F this and F that, and you're effing me, and you're trying to F, and I'm going to F you, and whoa, what kind of public servant is this? Regardless of the issues. You don't talk that way to people. And I know that this guy wasn't provoking it because the guy made a tape of it. Okay. So I listened to that. I know it's true that he was easy to get along with. He did not provoke this. Well, you don't know what happened years before. Okay. Even if it happened years before, is it right for someone to start saying that to people? Is that right? So you decide what kind of world you want to live in. So I got up at the weekly business session because this guy wasn't going to do it himself. And I said, and here's what happened. Cheryl Walker's response was, I believe in that guy. That guy's so good. He's so, and I would back him before your very existence. Really?
Yeah.
This is what happened with the porn at the library. Judy got up and she said, I think there's porn at the library. So we've got two other people who are supposed to be reporters also. They didn't bother. The commissioners didn't bother. Cheryl Walker just says, oh, no, there's no such thing. You can rest assured. Okay, so I went. Didn't it occur to anybody to actually go and see if it's true? I mean, isn't it enough that Cheryl Walker says it's not true? Well, you better go now. You got to go now. And I went, yes, it was true. It's easily available. We use Google. Google has a thing called images. All the kids know this, so it's not like, oh, don't listen to this. And images shows you pictures. Well, hooray. So you can see pictures of the moon and Pluto and all the rest of this. You can see pictures of anything. And you just go there, Google images, and type in anything that you like. Woo, you're going to see it all right. So I brought this to the attention of the library guys, the board that they have there. Well, you're a pervert. No, I'm not. You've hacked into the system. No, I haven't. It's Google. And Cheryl Walker was leading the applause. Hey, you're a terrible person. I'm a donor. I'm just trying to tell you about a problem. This is what the real problem is with the meetings. So what I've tried to do here in talking with Mike and including you is say there are ways that we can handle some of this. Okay? All right. So one of the first things that I think that we need to look at is don't make any changes that make the meetings longer. Okay. And if you're going to increase transparency in the county, which I think could use a help, because I don't want to see any more black maps, black on black maps with the black legend. Don't like that. Okay. And they admitted that's what they did, but they didn't correct the problem. Okay. So, or if they ever did, I haven't seen any correction to it. It sure didn't happen right away, and it didn't happen within a couple of weeks. So, don't institute anything that's going to cost more money. Even if you find that it's a helpful, handy, wonderful thing, shouldn't cost more money or time. So we talked about last time was, how could we possibly do that? Well, we're hanging on by our fingertips, Mike. There's no way in the world that we could ever possibly have real transparency in this county. Your thoughts?
I don't think transparency costs money. Generally speaking, it really doesn't cost very much money at all. Listen, almost never do people come in and ask for documents. It's rare.
Well, they know what's going to happen for one, but yes.
Okay, but the bottom line is that people don't do it that often. This is not a major problem. Your office staff is not backlogged with getting documents for people. It's not happening. Okay, so I don't think it costs any more. And this whole thing with their inability to get stuff on TV, although they have done fairly well here recently.
With one show a week, yes.
Yeah, with one show a week. This is not hard. It's not hard and it's not expensive, although they've probably found ways of making it very expensive, like buy all brand new equipment when you don't really need it, and then sit on that equipment, let it sit around and slowly get outdated while you don't install it. Maybe that's. I just noticed that they had installed one new camera. They finally did that here the other day, and there's probably two other cameras sitting back there, waiting to get dropped by somebody or something.
The
like
audio's no better than it was before, and now at least there is audio, but it's like screaming at you.
Yeah, well, they're having a little bit of a problem. Listen,
you think?
Okay, for you guys, you should have an audio meter. And you have 0, which is kind of a data point for people. And what you need is, what is it, 6 under or 6 over? I think it's six under, right?
Okay.
Anyway, the bottom line is just slightly shy of pegging into the red is where you should be. If you have a colored VU meter, you have green until it turns yellow and then it turns red. Well, you want it to be just popping into the yellow. That's what you want.
Don't run it into the red. What's hard
Don't
about
run it
this?
into the red. It was clipping. That's last week's audio was blown out because it was clipping the whole time, and you can't unclip it. Right. You can take low audio and enhance it, but here's the bottom line. If you have some competent people running things in there, which is not going to cost you any more money, by the way, the free people will help you. You could do all the transparency is the cheapest thing local government does.
Well, they don't do it very well. Okay, so here's what we went over last time. All right, so you start off the meeting with the invocation and a flag salute. You announce that you've got 2 new people on the board. You might want to know who they are. And then you talk a little bit about how you're going to run the meetings. Right away, the board members can talk 3 minutes because you're the bosses. If the bosses can talk 3 minutes, the board can talk 3 minutes. Well, I need longer. Put it in writing and we'll post it on the website. But not at this meeting. This is a meeting to inform our bosses, to update our bosses. That's you guys. About what we're doing. We're public servants. I don't know what this is like, what this lifestyle is like, but if you had some kind of place that was real big and you had a bunch of servants, that's just weird to me, and a bunch of servants, would you have the servants calling you names? How long would they work there? Would you have the servants not wanting to give you a report? How long would they work there? And so, this whole thing about being up above the rest of the audience, I'm well, maybe I am an iconoclast, but the whole idea is there are servants. Why are they way up above us? Oh, please, would you please listen? No, you're the bosses. And honestly, now they're going to care more on a daily basis than you do about, what to do about the widgets or whatever. But they should be able to tell you what's happening. I got all kinds of people who come to me, well, I've got strong opinions, but I really don't have all the facts. Why don't you have all the facts? Because it's my fault? Not because it's your fault. They're your servants. They should be telling you what the facts are. If you don't know what the facts are, it's only because they haven't told you. So it's a complete turnaround on this, okay? So what you do is then, first thing that you do, the very first thing, you have Wally Hicks, the county lawyer. He gets up and he reads to you a draft letter he's been working on to the federal government saying you need to obey the contract that you have with this county about the ONC lands. You need to obey the contract that you've signed with this county about timberlands. That's it. And you start with that's your very first vote. Your second vote is you have the finance director come up and he talks to you about what happened to that $1 million that came in for timber. We're not talking about the X number of millions because their numbers are all over the place. We need true numbers from the county government, not different numbers every week. What happened to, we're not talking about road funds now for safety. We're talking about what happened to the $1 million they hadn't anticipated in timber funds. And Mike, you and I talked about this. The very next thing that would be done after sending the letter to the federal government and establishing that tone, first thing for tone, invocation and flag salute, okay? Second thing, for tone, send a letter to the federal government. Stop dragging your feet on that. Third thing, for tone, find out how much money there is. And if that $1 million is sitting in the general fund, have a vote right then and there to give that to the sheriff's department.
Right.
We've solved 3 big problems in the first few minutes.
Yeah.
Then this is not hard. This can be done with just a little bit of will and with 2 people. You can't do it with 1. Simon is not going to say yes to any of this.
Right. At least not to begin with.
Yeah. Why is Simon not saying yes to things like sending a letter to the feds about this, Mike?
Well, because number one, he's in there with a couple of people who that's not on their mind to do at all, and would probably buck you at that because, oh, we can't have that fight because we can never, ever win. Well, I think that a lot can be done without going full-blown lawsuit with these guys. You point your finger at them and you said, listen, you got a contract, you're in violation of it. Let's get rolling here. Okay, because are we going to feel obligated any further to continue with our part of this contract if you're not upholding yours? Why should we?
Now there's going to be people that say, "No, wait a minute, you can't do that. You can't send a letter." Really?
Yes, you can.
It's symbolic.
Listen,
okay. But
yes,
look, I'll take symbology over nobology any day of the week.
Of course. No, this is letting the government know that you may be powerless to act, but you have the will to do so. And you're pointing the finger at them and saying, you are the problem.
Yeah.
Not us. You are.
Okay, let's suppose that the federal government
sets a
reads
tone.
this. Let's suppose they don't even read the letter. They just toss it immediately in a circular file. But at the very least, you've set a tone with the rest of the community saying, we've had enough of this just talking about it. We're actually going to do it. We're at the very least, going to send a letter. Really?
Oh, listen.
How much of a commitment is that?
You know what? The smart thing to do would be to get on the radar of some of these people that think of themselves as smaller government conservative type people. See if you can get Donald Trump talking about it, for crying out loud. See if you can get Ted Cruz to talk about it. See if you can get Rand Paul to talk about it. I mean,
see if you can get Hillary Clinton to talk about it.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton is not going to talk about it. But the thing is that what is going on here should be of national interest, because look at what the federal government is doing to the economy in Southern Oregon.
Yeah.
They're doing it to the whole state, in fact. But I mean, this is a big problem. And, why can't we make an issue out of it? This is what your government does to you. Hey, how about we get some help over here? Help us, start banging some heads over there and let's get some action. If you had the will to do that sort of thing and you were putting out videos once a week in scolding manner, you would get some sort of reaction at some point. And at least at some point they'd have to answer the question, why do they have their boot on our neck?
Now, this latest letter that they sent out is not about this subject. So, you can stop sending this, I'm on social media and we've already done. No, you haven't. No, they haven't. They have not done this. That's not what this latest letter is about.
No.
I want a letter sent out to the federal government saying, we have a contract with you. We have a contract. You are violating that contract. So first thing, invocation flag salute sets the tone. Second thing that we do is send a letter to the federal government saying, we've had enough. Okay, now that doesn't mean we're going to take them to court right away. Or Sarah, well, it won't matter because they'll tie us up forever. With that kind of attitude, we'll never even send the dang letter. And a third thing, find out what the money is and be sure that the sheriff gets some part of this. Now, is he the most brilliant guy in the world? Well, obviously not. Okay, but still, we can work with the guy. That's not the point. No, it's not the point. It's also symbolic. And like I said, you can quote me here. I'd take symbology over nobology every day of the week.
Yes, that's right.
That doesn't make any sense, but it sounds.
Yes, I know. Okay. Yeah, but I know what you mean.
All right. Then the next thing that we do is we call up Wendy Gwynn. Wendy Gwynn is now going to be in charge of the office. This is not my decision. It's not our decision. It's Wendy's decision and the current county commissioners. Simon Hare will be in office for 2 years following this next election, and will be in office. Everybody in the community that cares about this will be in office, as his two companions. And if we agree with each other, we're going to get some stuff done. And we have Wendy Gwynn come in and we say, Wendy, you've done some thinking about this, because you talked to her a little ahead of time, not in a quorum because you're just your first day in office. But you say, now, Wendy, what we want to do is we want to be sure that when the meeting is over, that we send out the draft minutes so people know what happened. We want to be sure. I had to call her about Thursday's meeting, the big meeting of the week. It wasn't posted. Well, because the other two staff people just didn't get around to it. It's the audio, yeah, but we haven't gotten around to it. Wendy saw that it was done right away. So I would say, Wendy, what we want to do is we want to be sure we have a different attitude among the office staff. If you need to pick somebody else or say goodbye to somebody, you just tell us this. I think that's a great plan. But the idea is that if you go and you ask for something, I need help finding this department. That can happen. I would like to get a copy of something. That can happen. You don't have the attitude that Cheryl Walker has. If you ask for something, that's intimidating. In what universe is that intimidating? And so you put her in charge of, I think she'd be delighted to do this. Hi, Wendy. That you put her in charge of making sure that it's a happy, friendly government. A happy, friendly government. That sounds like something we'd laugh about. It's possible. Now, that may take a little extra money. Mike says no. I say it might, to be able to do some of those kinds of things. For example, I'll give you an example. Okay, we have a super expensive copy machine in that county commissioner's office, and it can make copies of things in a format where when you look at that online or you get that via an email, you can search a word. Like maybe you want to know what the commissioners are doing about pick your poison. Pick your topic. Pets. What are they doing about ONC lands? What are they doing about Williams? What are they doing about a variety of subjects? You can search the document. This thing can copy it so that you can search the document. Would you like to look through 150 pages and you don't know what page it is and you got to look word by? No, this thing could easily do that. Now,
hang on a minute.
Yeah,
that's if the machine can do that, then it doesn't cost any more to do it. It's just a willful function.
That's right. Okay. That's right.
Now, so what's the part that costs more money?
Well, because they contend that it takes extra time to press the right button.
They're going to be leaving at 5 every day, regardless.
All I'm doing is this is not Wendy that's saying this.
Paid. Yeah, they're getting paid the same. It's not. It doesn't matter whether they actually do something or not. For crying out loud, push the damn button and quit your griping.
Yeah, and then to post it, oh my gosh, can you imagine how much work it takes to do that? We post things every day, all day long. That's just about all that I do. But
it's your job. Your job. Quit crying about you. Listen, you're better paid than 9/10 of the people working in the damn county. Do your job.
Mike, tell them what the HR director just recently said about better paid. This is lovely. Wait to hear this.
I don't know.
J.J. Schofield, when he was briefing the commissioners on Thursday, he said to them, people don't want to move here and work. They don't want to come here. So it's absolutely essential that we pay people, I'm not making this up, more than they would get in Portland, or they won't move here and work here.
Oh,
so
for crying out.
Oh, yeah.
That's just ridiculous. Listen,
now, what do you think was the response from the commissioners?
Oh, I'm sure they went, oh, yeah, you're probably right. Go ahead.
All three of them.
Yeah. You know what? That is stupid. And that's what happens to minds who are inside that circle where the money is flowing free and, hey, who cares? It's not our money. The bottom line is if you can't get people out of Portland to come in here and do these jobs, why don't you hire locally? I would be willing to bet that most of the people locally here could do the work and would be more than happy to get paid the crazy wages you guys get paid down there. Crazy. That's what they are.
It's a great time to be an HR director in Josephine County. You would think it's a terrible time. It's not. Just wait till you see Wednesday's meeting. It's filled full of new hires and raises and so. Oh, but how is that possible? They're hanging it. No, they're not. Not really. Oh, it's in the budget. It's in the budget. Boy, we need to do something about that budget committee. And with two new commissioners in there who think as fiscal conservatives, you join them together with Peggy Goodwin, then half of the budget committee will be made of people who are fiscally conservative. Well, there's a start.
Then, you'd have a whole different flavor going on in there. And that's when all hell's going to break loose.
Oh, yes.
All of a sudden, the crazy maverick people, we got to get rid of these people. That's when the recall operation starts right away, run by people inside the government wanting to get rid of these two new conservative people. That's
exactly what happened to Sandy. It's because she said, no, wait a minute. Don't pass. Wait, budget committee, hold on a second. Don't do this. And Dwight Ellis actually left office early. He was chair to coordinate the campaign. Oh, Ed Bowers thought it was him. It wasn't. It was never Ed Bowers running that thing. It was Dwight Ellis. And he was running this campaign to get Sandy. Why did he care? Because you got to get her out of office. If you're going to start questioning how the money is spent, that's where follow the money.
When you get when you get conservative people in there, you're going to have to start protecting them. Okay. Yeah. The people that are going to try to make sure that only the money that needs to be spent gets spent, you're going to have to protect those people because they're instantly going to start catching fire. You're going to all of a sudden start having feature stories out of the Courier. The Courier who couldn't pull a political story out of their backside for who knows how long is all of a sudden going to be inspired to write a new story every day. And then you're going to have,
Kjo.
Yeah, everybody in the political class is going to be nattering about these horrible people, and you're going to have to step up and say, "I'm sorry, I'm not buying your story."
Rotary Club,
right?
Chamber of Commerce.
That's what's going to happen, and if you don't do it, you're going to get back a bunch of lemons like we got now. And if that's what you want, then good for you.
I like the kind of lemons that call people names and then hand out black maps. That's my favorite kind. Well, there are things we can do about it. If you think that the black map commissioners are what you want, you got it, buddy. And most of the people running, I've met them. Most of the people running fall into the same category. Oh, no, I don't. Okay. How do you feel about higher property taxes? Well, I just, rather not say.
Yes.
Really?
Well, here is a big problem. There's a lot of people walking around that going, yeah, these commissioners are doing a wonderful job. It's just fantastic what they're doing. I just love these guys. You haven't seen good commissioners. In the time since I've been here, we've barely had anybody in there who is not business as usual. Okay. So you haven't really got much of a taste of what it would be like to have some good commissioners in there and to have a different tone, government run for people instead of government run for the government. Because this is what we have here locally is that, the government is being run for the benefit of the government. And when they're talking about the county, when Cheryl's talking about the county, she means county government. She doesn't mean the county at large. She means county government. And when it's not good for the county, as in county government, she's not interested in it.
Well, okay, here's an example. So not you, but your next door neighbor. Well, I really think they're doing a great job. Like Curtis Hayden of the Sneak Preview. Okay. And he says, Cheryl Walker is the best commissioner ever. And she's been the best commissioner ever, I think, for the last 3 years in a row. Okay. So all you need to do to say to your neighbor.
Based on what?
Well, he says he does a survey, but he doesn't like to have everybody respond. He contacts the people individually. And guess what? They tell him that he's right, that Cheryl's the best, the very best. There's a
You know what?
scientific
I
poll.
think Cheryl's the best commissioner ever. And they go, yeah, you know what? You're right. Unfortunately, I wouldn't really trust a poll of the people in this county right now because I've seen how many of you people come down and participate. It's
Now,
not very.
now.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Wait
you're
a
right.
minute. Hey, okay, I'm not an elected official. I'm not gonna be. So I can be critical where criticism is due here. And listen, you're getting what you deserve. You can go down there and make a difference.
I'm getting what they deserve. That's not fair.
Right. No, exactly. But the thing is that listen, if you want different, you're gonna have to start paying attention.
Right. And the other thing that you need to do, because you are paying attention, you're watching the show, but the other thing you need to do is please talk to your neighbor. I mean, when your neighbor says something like, well, I think they're doing a pretty good job, especially with economic development, then you ask him. I mean, I've not had a single person that could answer this question. What do you think they were doing when they gave all that money to the Illinois Valley Community Development Organization, who promised them that they would have up to 214 full-time family wage jobs after they put a couple of ramps in a state park? How's that working for you? Or then they followed up and the commissioners gave them more money based on their success with that for 90 jobs created by putting a plaque on a rock. Now, nobody can ever answer that. I've asked them, well, what do you think? Well, that's not really what it's. Oh, no, that's what it said. Well, I don't think so. Well, you didn't read the document. I did. You didn't hear what they said. I did. This is what they said. Now, you think that Cheryl Walker then is the master of all she sees and that's wonderful economic development? Economic development? They've just decided to give $35,000 more to the library. Okay, you might say, well, I like libraries. I like libraries too. I grew up in libraries. I literally grew up in libraries. But the idea that buying new books for the kids would be happy with 100-year-old books. You know that they would, as long as they taste good. Okay, the idea of buying new books for the kids is going to be good for economic development?
Yes. Well, and I've said this before. If we can use that kind of rationale to, switch funding around from one department to the other, then why can't we just decide that, good public safety funding is economic development and give that money to the sheriff?
Now, I've said that before. You've agreed with me. We've both said that before, and all of you agree with us, right?
Yes. But they have decided that giving funding to other departments of local government is economic development. But strangely, the sheriff's department is not included on that list.
Now, let me ask all of you, what happened to that emergency that we had with sheriff funding? And are you telling me that the books in the children's section of the library is an emergency that's more important than sheriff's patrols, really?
Well, yes, but 35,000 is not enough money. We need.
You add that up a couple of times. You take the money from the IV CDO instead of putting plaques on a rock, and from the library. Now you've got enough money for another patrolman. This is not helpful to you, really?
Well, from what I hear, the economic development money is about $350K a year. Okay, so and that's enough funding. I think that we talked to the sheriff about that. That'd give him a couple of deputies at least.
It would. Yeah. And so there's your money. Okay, well, we got to increase. Well, how would you do that? People are asking, well, what's your solution? Well, there's a solution. Well, I don't like your solution.
I only like property taxes. So give me a property tax.
Yeah, that's right. What happened to all those people? What happened to the emergency? Okay, so what can you do for transparency? One of the things that will take money is if you now want to make sure that people, that these meetings are taking place in the Ann Basker, there's a small fee to rent the Ann Basker, but there's also a small fee to televise them. Okay, I know it's only going out on cable TV, but it also goes out as live streaming on the internet. We know this. Okay, so let's suppose that you're just talking about money. Just once, let me just finish that one time, if I may. Talking about money for that. Where are you going to get that money from? Got an instant solution for you, buddy. Instant solution. years and years and years, 5 years of Simon Hare traveling all over the country. Are we any closer to even sending a letter to the federal government? Not even a letter. You know why? Because Simon Hare doesn't want to send a letter to the federal government. Do you know why? Because he wants to go back to Washington, D.C. and say, look, I'm not just getting your coffee for you anymore. Now I'm something else here, whatever that butterfly wants to be. And see, I didn't even send you a letter criticizing you. Okay, so what you do is you say, Simon, you just go right ahead and represent yourself any way that you want to. Use that big screen that's in the little back room to do all the Skyping in the world. You know, it's basically free, and you can talk to them on the phone, and you can send them a letter, but you're not going to travel anymore on our dime. No more. We're going to drop out of so ready. Well, they help us. How did they help us in many ways? Well, theoretically, yeah, theoretically, right? Then you drop this and you drop that, and you say to the IVCDO, you have 30 days to explain to us what happened to those jobs. Otherwise, we're taking the money back from you right now, and we're going to instruct Wally Hicks to look into, investigate, what did you do with that money? You promised us jobs and you didn't deliver any. Where's the economic development, IVCDO? Now, they're going to hate that. And there's going to be people out there, well, we got to stop these guys immediately. Oh, yeah? What did you do with the money?
Well, listen, everybody knows that that's a scam. And the commissioners know that you're never supposed to ask where's the economic development, because the thing is, all it's supposed to be is an answer to a question. Oh yeah, here's what we did for economic development. Bing, 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 bing. Too bad you were throwing money into the trash can.
Well, the previous chief financial officer actually said in a public meeting, every once in a while they say this stuff and you go, what? What? I almost yelled that out in the meeting. I didn't. She said, I've been instructed not to talk about whether people have even paid back their loans. You've been instructed? Who instructed you? Nobody asked that question. They don't want to know the answer to that question. Who instructed you not to do a report about this? Who instructed you not to look into it? She said, I was instructed not to look into it. Really? This is what we're talking about when we say Salem looks at this and goes, this is a corrupt county. This is why this is called bad county, because she was instructed not to do any investigation of how the money was spent.
Listen,
that's over, buddy. That's over.
You're talking about Salem looking at it and calling us corrupt. I'm sure
that's a good point. Okay,
I'm sure they're just as bad.
I know the end of that joke. Absolutely, but we can do what we can to at least lay some kind of sanity grid over this. I mean, please.
Yes.
And none of this is made up. This is all provable by the evidence. And yes, there are people who say, well, I don't want to look at the videotape. The former sheriff said that. I said, but you did do this. Well, no, I didn't. I said, Sheriff, yes, you did. Would you like to see the tape? No, no. I mean, he was angry. No, I don't need to see the tape. I know what I said or didn't say. But you're on the tape saying it, and there were witnesses. Yeah, well, that's not true. That's evil. What's evil about it? That's you. I don't want to see that. I mean, really. That's exactly what happened. Well, that's not true. What he just said was not true. That is true. He didn't want to see it. And I said, yeah, but isn't it sort of like a court case where, a couple of years later, they want to know if it was 5 shots or 3 shots, and you look at the tape to refer. You look at the file to refresh your memory. I don't need to refresh my memory. I know what he meant was, I know what I want to believe, or I know what I'm going to tell people. And Sandy asked that question too, and he said, she's evil. She's an evil commissioner. What the heck is evil about her when she says that this is what you said? She was there too. What happened to the other people that were in that room? Rika Brown was there. Well, nothing that she said made any sense. The reporter from the Courier was there. Nothing. Oh, speaking of the Courier, Mike, how long ago was it, do you remember, that we put out the story about Orhimco, which is about the 2 commissioners that are under investigation by the state for illegal activity, and we said who their partners were? Do you remember? And Keith Heck got real upset, made me sit down rather than talk about the members.
It's been a couple of months anyway.
Well, the Courier this weekend finally broke the story. Woohoo! Man. Jim Moore is there, man. What a reporter! And he finally, he didn't list the members. You can't do that. Not in this society. Not here, because many of them are members of the Rotary Club. You can't say that, but you can certainly talk about The story that came out about how their crops, at least part of them, have not passed muster.
Mm-hmm.
Good work, Jim Moore. Every time I see this guy, I say, great reporting, Jim. I don't think he understands that I'm being a little bit ironic about that statement. A couple of months later, this is typical with the Daily Courier. If you don't want to know what's happening, and there are plenty of people who don't, that's where you should go. Recently got criticized. The lady says, why don't you say anything positive on the Facebook site? Did you see this, Mike? Why don't you say anything positive and share a pie recipe?
Listen, Facebook is full of pie recipes.
Man,
you wouldn't want a pie recipe from Dale anyway.
No. What share of the pie is actually going into the commissioner's pockets? Oh, brother. Okay, yes. So happy news is that there are people that are in part of this administration right now who would make very good cooperative people or collaborative people or coordinating people.
Be careful. Be careful.
Coordinating people.
Somebody might start emailing you demanding to be on your show. Yeah, now, you said that wrong.
This first meeting is the last meeting at which we don't start off with people saying their bit. Okay, whatever it is that they have to say. The very next meeting, the following Friday, 2 days later, it starts after the invocation of flag salute. First thing, people get to say what they want to say, but they need to know a little bit before that. But then and then after each subject, they get their 3 minutes. Oh no, but the meeting's gonna last forever. No, it's not, because when the person comes up, like Lisa Shipley did, and she took, what was it, 45 minutes to say, it was, and because she's playing a videotape also talking about how wonderful she is personally, not her department, Lisa, by herself, at a budget meeting. You don't have that kind of thing anymore. You give us the top 3 minutes, but I have 7 minutes. Great, put it in writing, and we will post it for everybody to read. But at this business meeting, you're going to get 3 minutes. You know why it's 3 minutes and not 4? Because that's all the citizens get. Now, every department head says, well, I need 4 minutes. Great. Now all citizens will get 4 minutes. Well, that's not right, because they're not what? Well, they're not highly paid executives. No. They're the boss. And the meetings will be shorter.
Yeah.
No, they won't. The math doesn't. Yeah, the math's going to pencil out. We'll make absolutely sure the meetings are no more 3-hour meetings with the commissioners. Mike?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so before you do anything, I don't know what this word is called, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that knows. It's not called zero-based budgeting, but it's called you only spend what you have, okay? There's probably some word, probably a French word that says that, exactly. But you only spend what you have. You don't spend more time than you have, so you don't run the meetings 5 hours like the city council, Grants Pass City Council, and you don't spend more money that you have. You don't do something unless you can pay for it. And you stop the ridiculous spending. No more plaques on a rock. No more flying off to Washington, D.C. to come back and say nothing got done. No more of that. No more places that are coming. People are coming in saying, I'm going to do all your economic. No. Economic development money goes to the most important issue. You told us when you were trying to pass the levy, the most important issue was safety. That's where it's going to go until things start improving economically. You said, well, people won't come here and start a business because okay. Let's test that theory. We'll increase our security, and let's see how good that does for us. You said that it would. You swore that it would. You yelled at us that it would. Okay, let's do it. Mike?
Yeah.
I knew you had something to say there, Mike.
You think so? Yes, again, pal.
At the end of the whole meeting, the commissioners have their protected time where they can say what they want to. Guess how long? 3 minutes.
Right.
And then when the whole thing is over, we hear one last time from the bosses, from the populace.
Works for me.
And so there's no more of this, you're full of it, and I'm going to give you 11 reasons why. Like Keith Deck says, they don't have any protected time anymore. And
yeah, protected time is just so condescending and holier than thou. And I don't like it at all. I think it's, who are you? Are you above, being talked to by the people and having a back and forth? No, you want to be able to slam them and go home.
We'll talk next time about what it would take to grab up a paintbrush and take a stand and helping somebody paint their barn that's behind a berm that you can't even see from the river. Well, you can't paint that barn that color because it's within the boundary. You can't see it from the river. And what would happen if you had a couple of commissioners and some press people and some citizens who are willing to go there and, I don't know, paint the doggone county logo on the side of that barn, and then have a press conference and say to the press people, Jim Moore and you guys from the TV stations, you want to come and cover this story? You are welcome to come. You better grab a paintbrush.